Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Nosferatu, your friendly neighborhood Mexican film critic. So this is going to be my review for the Odyssey, and it is still very fresh. I did see it 2 days ago, so I still have a lot to digest. I wrote a whole bunch of notes. I got some controversies, technical achievements of it, pros, cons, summary, this and that and the other.
And then some?
This is a lot to tackle, and I'm going to do my best to at least give my opinions and initial thoughts on it, and a little bit of spoilers, even though the story's so freaking old. You should already know what's gonna happen. And without further ado, my review for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Alright, so Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, we got to see it in theaters Sunday. It's actually one of the great theaters we had. It's called Flicks Brewhouse. You know, you have the recliner seats, they do a chairside service, you get to order food, have some steak, fries. Beautiful. Awesome, great theater, great experience. So, just for some first initial thoughts, it is a lot to take in. I was kind of skeptical with how the casting was going. The trailers, I do not feel the trailers did this movie justice at all. They cram all these people in there and you're like, oh, that. And then half those people are barely in the movie. Out of 3 hours, they have maybe like 6 minutes of screen time total.
Not that bad.
So I think for starters for this video, we will talk about the controversies of it, why people are upset, why people are just refusing to watch it, and why people are effing wrong.
Can't say that.
So, first thing is some of the casting choices. There was Lupita Nyong'o as Helen. I've seen them call her Helen of Detroit, and I see like, yo, I am the Helen now. Yeah, I mean, okay, you race swapped it, whatever. She's barely in the movie. She's such a small fraction of the movie, it doesn't even bother you that she's there and she's black. Who fucking cares?
A lot of people.
And that's with like a lot of the casting. You look at it and then you think, because it's just like they're great actors, but it's like Hollywood slop. The only thing it was missing was Pedro Pascal. And not that these aren't good actors. I'm just saying, it's like, are you doing this because they are at the level, or were you trying to tick a checkbox? You know, do a little check mark. So that's what I was skeptical about. Another big casting choice people were upset about is Elliot Page, and everyone always playing Achilles. They're not playing Achilles. They're playing someone named Sinan, and they have like 4 scenes, maybe 3 to 4 scenes. Not very long in the movie. They do have an importance in there. The character was made up for this version of it. Like, man, if seeing a black Helena Troy, Travis Scott being a bard, he's barely in the movie too. And the reason Christopher Nolan put him in the movie as a bard is because he sees hip-hop artists as like the modern day poets that still tell stories. And he's a bard in the movie. It opens up with him, doom, doom, doom. There was a man with fire and a horse, boom, boom. And he's actually reading the actual Odyssey script, like. But still, he's barely in there, but I do see where he kind of makes the connection to putting him in there and why he was the bard. Because is that not musicians now? We're bards. They're bards.
I'm a rogue knight elf.
So yeah, if these casting choices are throwing you off and like, I've just refused to watch this woke, feminist 2026 bullshit, get out of your own fucking way, man. You like, if you refuse to watch it, that's fine. I'm not going to trust what you say about this movie since you haven't actually given it a shot. Give it a shot, and then if you still hate it, I'm seeing plenty of people talking about how they hate it, how it was boring, how it's just a bunch of bullshit, which I really don't think it was. It's Christopher Nolan. Even the worst Christopher Nolan movie is still a good movie. I would argue like maybe one of his worst is probably Memento. No, not Memento. I actually like Memento a little more than Tenet. Tenet was probably his worst one just because it was so convoluted and confusing, and it plays out and then the middle happens and it plays backwards, and it's a confusing fucking movie.
Yes, it is.
I'm not saying Christopher Nolan doesn't have his ups and downs, but I will say The Odyssey is one of his ups. A few more controversies about it. The lack of Greek representation. But even then, what do you just want everyone to speak British? Because everyone's British in every past Greek mythology thing ever. I mean, don't quote me. I'm not a fucking historian, but I do like fucking movies, and I do understand some stuff that happened. And they're talking about historical inaccuracies. Inaccuracies to a mythology? Oh, what, they didn't get the Cyclops right? The thing's full of magic and giants and monsters. Like, where's the historical accuracy for that? Well, the armor looks too medieval. It's like Batman. I will give you the Agamemnon armor does look very similar to Batman, like, but it's a drip. The aura from his fucking armor, man. I see. Although I did get the Batman reference whenever he shows up, and all I thought was,
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Made me fucking laugh my ass off. I did laugh a couple times, but I laugh when it's not appropriate to do, so that's nothing new for me. And one of the other controversies is the modern dialogue. I will say, this is something that kind of took me out at the beginning. Like I said, you gotta kind of adjust to seeing all this old fancy stuff, just like, yeah, what's up, bro? I mean, they're not saying bro and dude and everything, but what I think he did with the modern dialogue, just being English and pretty standard, and I've seen people call Christopher Nolan's scripts clinical.
I'm a doctor.
Because it's like, it's more exposition-y over like emotion. But I'm not saying the emotion's not in there. But how I felt with the modern dialogue, it is kind of a level playing field for the majority of people to be able to watch and enjoy the movie. You don't have to know the source material to go in and be like, well, that was a good scene, that was cool. Or even you go in and like, this is long, this is boring, this is dumb. You have the right to your own opinion. And, I mean, like I said, even the worst Christopher Nolan movie is still a good Christopher Nolan movie. It's still a good movie.
That's a good movie.
But for some of the controversies, I do think, like I said, they kind of shoved all these names at the front. They put them in all the trailers, and then you're kind of just thinking, they're like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why did you do this? Did you sell out? Are you just trying to, like, check off boxes so you can be like, look, I got a trans person, I gender swapped, I fucking race swapped all these people? No, he knew what they can do, and he put them in there. Like, I mean, but honestly, Christopher Nolan asked you to come make a movie with me. You say yes to Christopher Nolan and you go do the fucking movie.
On my way.
You do. That's what you do. So, getting the controversies out of the way, they're not even a factor. They're not really a factor. I will say Elliot Page's character is important to the film because it ties back into Robert Pattinson. And I'm not going to get into that just yet. I will do spoilers towards the end of this video. But all the worries I had for the casting went out the window the moment I watched the movie. I gave it a chance, because I had to. Why wouldn't I watch the new Christopher Nolan movie? Fucking Oppenheimer was legendary. I fucking love it.
Calm down, calm down, calm down.
But, solid fucking movie. The acting was great. He puts these people in here because he knows what they can do, and guess what? They fucking do it. And not even just on that, what also makes this movie pretty damn good is the technical achievements they did for it. They shot the entire thing on IMAX. This is the first movie to be shot entirely with an IMAX 70mm camera. And what I did learn is that the IMAX cameras are so loud, you can't do close-ups because it's just zzz, it's just a loud whirring that like you can't hear yourself over it. So what did IMAX do? They created a sound dampening casing for the camera so they could shoot close-ups. And since you're close, and even with the casing, you still can't really hear each other. They had it set up where they had mirrors set up so the actors could be on separate sides, still getting their eye contact where it needs to be. And like, that's just something so small and simple, and it's like an old film trick that still works till this day. So that alone is kind of fucking awesome. Also, I'm not saying there's no CG in there, because there's totally some CGI. There's like a whirlpool. They kind of had to fix the Cyclops' eye a little bit. Like, I'm sure there was some CG there. But for the most part, all of it was as practical as they could be. They shot on location. Literally, in Odysseus's palace, like I said, I have a bunch of notes. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I did some research here. But Odysseus's palace, they filmed in a 15th century castle 1,000 feet up on an Italian island of Favignana, which required hiking and helicopters. So every day they were shooting there. They didn't let them shoot inside of it, but for the outside shots, they had to hike all this shit up there, use helicopters, because it's a massive place. They built the full-scale wooden horse, because, like, why wouldn't you? I mean, I understand. Even in Troy, I think the Troy horse from the movie Troy looked pretty more better than this, but this one is pretty dope as it is. There's even a scene when they go to hell in the underworld, and it's like just these black sands, and they actually shot that in Iceland, and I'm gonna fuck these up. Markarfljót. Most of the stuff was filmed on location. Even with the Cyclops, there was like a cave and with Hjörleifsjöfoy. I totally messed that up. But there's an actual cave that is as old as the fucking Odyssey that they filmed in for the actual scene with the fucking Cyclops in there. Even if you don't like the acting or casting, you have to respect the craft. All the extra effort they went into filming it.
Game, recognized game,
And it's Christopher Nolan, so you know he likes to do as much stuff in camera as he fucking can. Like I said, it took a while to sit on it. I'm still marinating with everything, but I think it was just such a ride, man. The more I sit with it, the longer I'm like, dude, I need to see it again. I would love to see it in IMAX if possible, because that would be incredible. It was shot on IMAX, so that's like seeing it at home as it's meant to be, essentially.
Good Lord intended.
Alright, and I also do have some pros and cons list here, so I will go through my pros first. It is visually stunning. The cinematography is fucking incredible. Like, every scene in this movie would be like the best scene out of another movie. You know, where just a scene, it's lit right, it's lit great, looks great, saturated great, everything lines up. You're like, I like that scene. That's this entire movie. Every piece you could just print off and make a poster of it and it'd be a beautiful art piece. The acting is incredible. He knew who he was getting for this and what they can do, and they fucking brought it. I will say Matt Damon was great as Odysseus. I don't think it was his best work. Like I said, I think he's better in Saving Private Ryan, The Martian, hell, even Interstellar as Dr. Man. Yeah, real on the nose there, Mr. Nolan. Anne Hathaway, oh my god, dude, you could see her trying to win an Oscar in this movie. There's a scene when her and Tom Holland are like talking about the suitors that are there to try to like marry her and take over, and just are like, I want Odysseus. Like, bruh, it is some intense shit, man. Like, you feel the emotion there. Tom Holland was perfect as well. Like, I like him as Spider-Man. But like I said, there's kind of highs and lows with him as Spider-Man, although I think he's a great Spider-Man, great Peter Parker. He's kind of the perfect blend of both. But we're not talking about Marvel today. We're talking about Christopher Nolan. So the casting and the acting, absolutely great. I will say there is one of Odysseus's like main generals, kind of side characters, was played by Himesh Patel as, I'm gonna fuck this up too, Eurylochus. That was one of my favorite characters in there, man. He was kind of the level-headed one, telling him, like, yo, you can't be doing this, or we need to do that, we need to do that. Like, you're getting kind of out of hand, and you're pissing off the gods, and we can all see you're pissing off the gods. Corey Hawkins, who I know him more as, he was Dr. Dre in the Straight Outta Compton. He's one of the suitors that show up to Ithaca, and, like, him and Robert Pattinson are like two of the main people, but dude, he's such a villain, man. He's like literally kicks a sick dying dog when it's already down. You're like, leave the fucking dog alone. Oh, I do got a dog scene in there later, but whew, it's just full of douchebags and dicks, and like, you believe it, you're mad, you're rooting for everything happening. John Leguizamo's in there as well as like a blind dude who's like kind of smart, and like I said, since everyone's kind of just using normal voices, like, you can just hear John Leguizamo, so I'm picturing, like, the pest being like, Mr. Stinky Dinky, like,
Take away for this.
On Stinky Dinky,
Yeah, he had some moments in there I thought were kind of funny that, I don't know if they were supposed to be funny. I think one actually was, but I'm not going to get into that too much. Like I said, the practical effects and the old techniques they were used as well. Yes, there's a they have a Cyclops in there. There's a island of giants. There's a scene with a witch and pigs that I'm gonna kind of talk about in the spoiler part. But as much as this is CG, that could be, of course, who wouldn't just make a CG giant? No, they fucking did the prosthetics. They had a giant Cyclops robot guy for like some close-up stuff, but for the most part, how they pulled it off, they used just classic film techniques. Forced perspective, you have the main actors closer to the camera and then the big one, like it's how they had it, like you could tell it just had this little extra charm to it for them pulling that shit off. They used real ocean, real boats. They were on like this kind of like Viking boat, which I guess people were complaining about, like, oh, it's not like an actual Greek boat, it's more Viking-esque. Like, first of all, fuck you. They're using a real boat, sending it out on the ocean that still uses sails and rows, and like the only way to do it is to do it. And guess what? They fucking did it. They, like I said, they used real locations. Another one of the pros, it's also kind of one of my complaints. Not that it's bad, definitely not bad. But the score from Ludwig Göransson's, he did the score for this movie. I think he also did the score for Oppenheimer. But how I feel with like the older Nolan movies, like Oppenheimer's score is kind of its identity. When you hear it, you immediately think, this is Oppenheimer. Freaking Hans Zimmer from Interstellar, you hear the cornfield chase and stuff, like that's Interstellar. You're immediately like, I remember that. This, like I said, it's great. It's a great score. They use some like old traditional instruments and everything. Like I said, I feel it's more of a companion to the movie, which most of them are, but like I said, there's nothing that really stood out that made me think, like, if I hear this, I'm going to remember this is the Odyssey. But it does fit the movie very well. I'm not going to down it. I think it was great, but not as memorable as some of the other Nolan scores. Now for some of the cons. Let's call it the Loudacy, because this movie is fucking loud. There's time, like the fucking Cyclops gets stabbed. His scream was like almost deafening, man. There's just the swell of all the audio is just. So I will say it is a very loud film. It is 3 hours long as well. It kind of feels like it a bit, and I love long movies, but a movie's extra long when you're looking at. Granted, I didn't like look at the clock or anything, but it also kind of needed to be that long, because like as I'm watching this movie and seeing the journey and like you're with them on the ground going through all this stuff. Like if it was a normal movie, you're like, oh man, I don't want to have to wait for part 2, because you don't have to. That's why I'm glad there was like another hour and a half on it, because like I need to see this all resolved. So it is a bit long, but like I said, it's also necessary. And also the non-linear storytelling, there's a lot of flashbacks, and then it'll jump forward, then it'll jump to some other people that's like kind of taking place at the same time. And that can be a bit confusing. I do understand. There's a couple times I'm like, wait, am I in the future or past or present? So I will say that is one of the cons, where it's just, it takes a while to latch on, and then your brain's like, okay, I know where I'm at. I can deal with this. Another con, a bit too much characters without as much emotional arc for each. So yeah, you're with Odysseus for like the middle of the movie with his crew and his shipmates. And like, as much as you want to know all these people, there's some big names there, but they have like one scene and then they're done, and then you're like, wait, did that guy die? No, he didn't die. That one died. Oh, I thought he died, but you're still alive. And so you don't really get the chance to build all these relationships with everybody. But like I said, there's so many fucking people going on in here. You kind of get Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson. Like, those are kind of the main ones. So I will say a bit too much characters that don't have enough time to develop. Although with Himesh Patel, like, kind of one of the secondary characters that you just like, I fucking love that guy, I hope nothing bad happens to him. I'm fucking wrong. Some people were upset with the lack of gods in the movie. And to be fair, there hasn't been a real Odyssey movie since there was one back in like the 90s that was a TV show called The Odyssey. I think there was one a little further than that called Ulysses. But yeah, when you think of like Clash of the Titans, you like see the gods acting, their character, they got cast as that god. This one is more implied. When they mention gods, you hear like thunder or Poseidon, and then you see the rain hitting and the waves crashing, so it's just more implied about the gods being there. And another complaint I actually did see was it comes off more stoic than clever and charismatic than the hero in the poem. The poem is all about hubris, a man constantly making the wrong decisions, not really learning from a mistake, defying the gods, constantly, because you're defying the gods is why they're fucking with you, but also get you, because fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. So he's kind of an OG in that aspect. But even then, even though there's a couple cons here, like I don't think that detracts from the movie at all. It is by definition, an epic. The very first epic. And I think it's done very fucking well. Is it the worst Nolan movie? Absolutely not. I'd put like Tenet, maybe Pi. Did he do Pi? I think he did Pi. I think Pi and Memento were like one of his first ones. No, Pi was Aaron Aronofsky. Never mind. So I don't think it was the worst movie. I don't know if it's his best yet. I have not ranked my Nolan movies. I think that's gonna have to be its own little. I'll probably put it into a short. Just I gotta think on it, man. Like I said, this is 3 hours of a lot of content to digest. And the more and more I sit on it, the more I'm like trying to think about it, and I want to go back and I want to rewatch it again just so I can kind of pick up on some extra stuff. All right, and so now we will kind of get into our spoiler territory a bit.
Spoilers.
So the spoilers are going to be there, although like I said, this story is over 100, 200, 300, I don't know how long. This is an old story. You should know what's going to happen. There's a Cyclops, there's a witch, there's a fucking like 6-headed monster thing. Regardless, some stuff I do want to talk about. The suitors in Iliad are fucking infuriating. Odysseus has been gone for 20 years. They all want to marry the queen so they can take over. And since they have the law of Zeus, which is treat every beggar and guest like a god because you don't know if they're gods in disguise. So these people for 20 years, well, I guess they've actually been there for like 2 to 3 years, but they're taking advantage of that. They're drinking all their wine, having all their parties. They're just nuisances, trying to force themselves to be able to marry homegirl. And they play it so well, which is the thing. Like, you make me hate these people, because I really do. And how everything kind of works out, because, you by the end of the movie, I will say the last third of this is like one of the most powerful parts of any film I've seen in a while. You get the whole journey, the epic, like 20 years gone, people taking over, scumbag. And then when Odysseus finally shows back up as a beggar and he's hiding, he's got the cloak on, he's fucking aura farming, dude. Just kind of figuring shit out. Whoo! Once all that shit breaks down, dog, it is fucking dope as hell. She's like, all right, he kind of talks to the wife as a beggar. She's like, you know what, fine, I've waited long enough. Whoever can string my husband's bow and shoot through these 20 axes, I'll marry them. And no one can string his bow but Odysseus. So when the beggar guy shows up, strings it, and he always does this pluck. Boom. Man, me and my wife both got chills on that, bro. It's fucking dope, dude. So super fucking awesome. And like I said, the reason I put it a bit higher, because it got me emotional. He has, for some reason, John Leguizamo was throwing puppies off a cliff, which is fucking terrible. And then he goes to throw another one, but Odysseus has a younger one. It's like, no, I'll keep this as a hunting dog. And so there's this whole underlining story of this is my hunting dog. And then when he goes away, the dog just kind of stays alive, waiting for Odysseus. And that's where Corey Hawkins, sees this sick dog and he starts beating the shit out, like trying to, like, dude, leave it alone. They throw the dog outside and the dog's just waiting there, slowly dying, until the beggar shows up, which is Odysseus. And then you see his little tail wag when he sees his owner, and then he finally passes on. And since Tom Holland, who is his son, knows that the dog's been waiting, like, that's when he's like, you're my dad. And he's like, nope, I'm just a beggar, man. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, that was super emotional. I thought it was just insane. They kind of talk about, like, them waiting in the horse during the Battle of Troy. And they're just stuck in the sand. And, like, some of them drown. They're covered in piss and shit. And, like, it feels a little more real since it's putting you in there with them instead of them just breaking down, taking out Troy. And as much as the fall of Troy is spoken as like this giant victory, when we get to Odysseus recalling it through his eyes, he sees how much of a tragedy it was. He's seeing his men slaughter innocent kids, children, fucking left and right, burning down an entire city. He says something about 10 years of rage came out as soon as we opened the gates. Like I said, it's pretty heavy. How it's shot, it kind of puts you in there with them the whole time. So you're literally going through the Odyssey with these people, wanting the best, knowing they keep fucking up, and the gods are fucking with them as well. And that's where I will get to the last little bit of this, because we're already coming up on 30 minutes, which is like the longest video for me. But two of the scenes, and normally I would be showing clips from this, but I kind of don't want to, because I want y'all to watch it, but I will explain them a bit. I was not expecting this to be a horror movie, but two scenes in here were absolutely terrifying. When they go in the cave and the Cyclops comes in, and you shut the fuck up. You just shut the fuck up. This thing's huge. It's all dark. You see hands coming in, grabbing shit. You just, like, you hear he goes to bite someone, and you hear them screaming from inside of his mouth till he just holds him by his side, bites the fuck out of, oh man. It reminds me of the painting of Saturn eating his son. And so they were trying to get out of this fucking cave. Like I said, it doesn't have the part in the poem about him being like, my name's nobody, and like, nobody stab my eye. But like I said, that scene alone, super intense. And the other scene when they meet the fucking witch, is they come to an island, all his men come up and like, oh, you guys want food? And so they just, they're eating like monsters and beasts and pigs. And I think most movies, when they show someone turning into a pig, you know, it may be like Pinocchio. You see a shadow of a human being, whoop, I'm kind of turning into pigs. No, this fucking woman just starts molding their skin like clay, dude. It was body horror. I was not expecting to see body horror in this. She's literally reaching down their throats, grabbing their fucking teeth, popping them out, sculpting their fucking ears out, and it's fucking wild, man.
We've got to see this movie, dude.
That shit, I was like hitting Devin on the side, like, oh my god, fuck. Fucking wild. That's why I need to see it again, man. This movie needs to be watched again for sure. But regardless, Robert Pattinson's a punk ass bitch in there, making everyone else do his shit, because fuck him. Although, one minute, what's the meme I saw that perfectly represents this movie? So this is someone explaining the Odyssey. Jason Bourne was lost at sea for years. His wife Catwoman has lost all hope, and Batman is pining for her. So her son Spider-Man went to find answers with the help of the Punisher. Which, yes, accurate. You do see these people as just actors, so it does seem like a massive play, but at some point during the 3 hours you just suspend your disbelief and you're there with them. You're watching the Odyssey, you're rooting for them, you want to see the bad people die, you want to see the good people live, you want to see them get back home, and it was all just around fucking incredible. And I've already kind of been called out for like, we knew you were gonna love it. Well, yeah, it's fucking Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. It's hard not to like, man. If you don't like Christopher Nolan, of course you're not gonna like it. If you want to be pretentious and just hate it because there's a trans person in there and a black person in there, then fine. Have fun being fucking miserable. Go watch fucking Fast and Furious 12. I don't know. Get out of your own way, man. Give it a shot and then give me your honest opinion. I'm not just gonna take your word for it because you don't like some shit. I don't like politics. I don't keep politics around my shit, so none of that is a factor to me when it comes to movies. But what I will do for my summary, though it may have some pacing issues, and some may not like the reinterpretation of Homer's epic, as a film lover, it is simply a breathtaking spectacle full of awe-inspiring visuals, a sense of scale that feels nothing short of epic. For one of the oldest stories ever told, we now have a great modern retelling that everyone can watch whether they know the source material or not. So yes, it is long. There is controversy around it, and people are going to tell you it sucks and it's boring, which it may be for you. I don't know. All I know is I love a good fucking movie when I see it, and The Odyssey was a good fucking movie.
Period.
So, if you have stayed with here during my longest fucking video so far, I do appreciate it. I love you guys. Like and subscribe down there. Throw a comment. Whether you want to make fun of my nose ring and shit ever, I've been called a leftist, capitalist, socialist, communist, whatever. I'm here to talk about movies. I don't give a fuck about anything else. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying my time. But, regardless, I do appreciate you, everyone who's stayed this far. I love you guys. Peace out. And you guys have a blessed night.